I bet Eren and Mikasa fans lost their minds after this chapter. This emotional and beautiful moment and much more are coming right up. Hello anime fans and welcome back to Manga Horse for a complete breakdown video of the newest chapter number 123, including every detail that you might have missed. Before we will start, keep in mind that we are going to talk about the latest developments in the manga, so there will be spoilers. And please also consider supporting the creator by buying the chapters when they published, online or printed. So, what did we have in this chapter? Honestly, a lot. And I must say that I absolutely enjoyed it. It had so many iconic moments, returning characters, and a set of probably the most beautiful panels and artwork we have seen in a while. So, let's talk about it. We will start with a review, and as we go on, I will point out special moments in this chapter, and we will talk all about them as we go on with the review. So let's get into this month's chapter, named The Devils of Paradise. From the very start, we go back to the 4 years time skip and actually see our friends from Paradise arrive on Marley for the first time and become the first known people from Paradise Islands to ever see the outside world. Also, we are used to Armin being the narrator of the story, but it seems that this chapter begins with Mikasa talking about Eren and how she knows he hasn't changed, thinking about which Eren she has been seeing until now. That implies that Eren has two sides to him, which, up to this point, won't be so hard to believe. I must add that the scouts sure seem to be okay setting foot on a hostile land, but if you think about it, they look similar to the majority of the population on Marley, so I guess they counted on that. I mentioned beautiful moments, and this one is probably my favorite, as the scouts encounter for the first time a car. The reactions were so funny. My favorite of course is Hanji saying hello to the car. What was your favorite reaction? Please tell me in the comments. But now think about it. They really don't know nothing about the outside world. This is not only cars, it is different foods and smells, different outfits, different languages, working streetlights, and much more. So I can actually understand the amount of surprise in their reactions. After this funny scene, Armin and John notice that people are watching them, and they keep on walking after Unyakupon through the city. Mikasa notices that Eren seems a little distant, and being the protective Mikasa she is, she tells him to stay close to her. Armin seems to be the most excited of them all, happy to see the outside world that he only read about in his grandfather's book. But Eren doesn't seem to be as excited. My guess is that he already knows what is going to happen, and we will talk all about it later on this video. In the background, we see Mikasa's voice saying that they didn't notice, or maybe they didn't want to notice. This refers of course to Eren's state of mind. The scouts are walking through the big market, and of course we can count on Sasha to get all excited about all the new types of food there. And personally, I cherish any scenes involving Sasha. While Sasha, Connie, Jean and Armin trying to figure out how to eat ice cream, we get one of the funniest scenes in this chapter, when a clown approaches Levi, calling him a kid and asking him if he wants a candy. Levi gave him such a look that I was sure I will see a broken clown in the next panel. But lucky for the clown, the scouts need to keep low. Next, we are blessed again with smiling Mikasa eating ice cream. Eren seems to know about it from Grisha's memories, and he tells Mikasa that the Eldian in the internment zone would rarely get to eat it, and Mikasa definitely realizes that Eren is going through something, looking very sad while watching the crowd. And, talking about not attracting attention, we have Levi catching a pickpocket, a little boy. Some of you might think that this boy looks familiar, and if you don't worry about it, because we are going to talk all about it later in this video. As soon as the crowd notices the pickpocket, they understand that he is an immigrant from an enemy nation, and soon enough, a big crowd is gathered around the kid, and you can actually see the amount of hate from the responses around, calling to throw the kid to sea, or to hang him in the street. Also, they say that the boy doesn't understand them, which means that indeed he speaks another language. The people around also said that even if he's not an immigrant, he might be a subject of Ymir, which is much worse in their eyes. That shows us the amount of hate Marley has towards them. We also get some new information. We see that other countries have been conducting blood tests in the last few years in order to flush out the subject of Ymir that might live in the country. Seeing all this commotion around, Levi tells the crowd the kid is Sasha's little brother. He grabs him and leaves. The angry crowd keeps on following them until the kid manages to slip by the scouts with the wallet. From the market we jump to a different scene with the scouts talking to Kiyomi. This place is probably some kind of embassy for Izuru nation on Marley, just like we have in our world. Here Kiyomi gives us some new information. We found out that around the world subjects of Ymir has been trying and succeeding in escaping the internment zone, and this has become an issue. We also learn that in the last few years there has been technological advancements in the blood test around the world. Kiyomi also tells us about the downfall of the Eldian Empire, from being considered once as noble into being persecuted around the world. Now we realize how complicated this situation really is, and Kiyomi states this very clearly to the scouts. On a personal note, I agree with Kiyomi. I know for a fact that all conflicts between countries are not solved easily, if ever. We can see it in our world too, and I will talk all about it in my next video. Basically, the scouts are hoping the Association for the Protection of Ymir's subject along with the Izuru nation will help them make the world see them differently, and to avoid going with Zeke's plan and sacrificing Historia and her children. At some point, Mikasa notices Eren is not in the room, and she goes searching for him outside. She finds him crying while looking at the refugee campsite of all the people who lost their home in the war. The people here look very similar to the people of Fort Slava, so it is possible those refugees are from the same country, only living on Marley. Eren also thinks of them just like the Eldians on Paradise Island, who lost their freedom in an instant. We also meet the kid from the market again, and if you didn't recognize him, he is the kid from the memory panel we had a few chapters back. But in the memories panel we see a different scene, and we will talk about it real soon. Important thing in this scene is when Mikasa saw the kid from the market with his family, she asked Eren if something happened, and Eren said nothing yet. I would say that Eren knew what is going to happen or what he is going to do. And now, for what I personally think is one of the most anticipated moments for a lot of Attack on Titan fans, Eren and Mikasa finally having a serious conversation about their relationship. Eren asks her exactly what us readers always wanted to know. Why do you concern yourself so much with me? Is it because I saved you as a kid? Or is it because we are family? And also, dropping the big question, what am I to you? Mikasa is absolutely out of words. We see her struggle to answer, and finally she says, you are family. I for one don't believe her answer, so tell me what you think about that in the comments, because I want to know what do you think. Luckily for Mikasa, she is saved by a nice immigrant that invites them into their tent. Notice that the older immigrant is talking in a different language and Eren and Mikasa can't really understand him. Soon after that, the rest of the scouts join them outside and they are all invited into the tent. And then we get another fun scene of the scouts getting drunk with the immigrants and partying all night. And for some reason, Sasha is making the kid drink alcohol, which was so funny to me. Also, Eren falling asleep with his leg on Jean, and I bet Jean won't like it in the morning. The next day, the scouts attend the conference by the Association for the Protection of Ymir's Subject. And here we see another big problem, because we see that even the people who are in favor of the Eldian and Marley still look at the people of the island as the main problem. We see Mikasa looking at Eren leaving the room, and this is the last time she saw him until his fight with the Warhammer Titan. I guess that this was the point for Eren to understand there is no chance for peace. But if we think about it, we can assume that Eren knew what he is going to do and what is going to happen next. In addition to that, we finally get to see the note that Eren sent from the hospital using Falco, where he says that he will entrust everything to Zeke. Which makes you think, if Eren knew what is going to happen to Sasha as well, and we also get to see her death moment in the panels, If Eren truly knew about Sasha's death, that can explain Eren's face when he was told Sasha died. What Connie saw as Eren laughing was in fact Eren's sad realization that all that he saw in the future memories is actually happening, and that it cannot be changed. In the background we see Mikasa thinking if there was ever a better choice, or was it all decided from the start. But she still wonders if she had chosen a different path, maybe things would have been different. And we see a panel from the day Eren killed the kidnappers and saved Mikasa. And on a personal note, this reminds me a lot of the Lost Girls OVA and Mikasa's story of a different reality. Maybe. After that, we go back to where the last chapter ended, and the walls falling down. And before we move on to the most exciting part of this chapter, I would like to take a minute to thank all of you for all the amazing support and love I've been getting on YouTube the last few weeks. You are all amazing, and I'm absolutely amazed that people enjoy watching me talk about anime, and I appreciate it so much. So, if you enjoy my videos and you want to see more unique content on my channel, please subscribe and enable notification to not miss any of my future videos. Back inside the walls, we see Mikasa and Armin looking at the wall titan starting to march and a giant titan emerging from where Eren was standing. Mikasa says that he's too big, and she's absolutely right. I mean, look at it. These titan legs are higher than the wall titans, which are all 60 meters tall. That is an enormous titan, and I can't wait to see its final form. The next panel shows the amount of noise and commotion all around, and Armin shouting to Mikasa that Eren is on their side and that his wish is to crush the forces that are gathering back on Marley. And in all this mess, we also see Yelena looking worried for Zeke. Armin seems worried. He tells Mikasa that Eren released too many wall titans and that also Wall Maria is falling down, and that is unnecessary. And just here, we get one of the biggest surprises in this chapter. In a beautiful panel, we see Mikasa and Armin in the paths, with Eren's voice talking. And we can understand that the voice is in Mikasa's head because of the latest panels who showed too much noise around to even speak. Then we go back to Armin and Mikasa, and we see Armin confused when Mikasa tells him she hears Eren. This looked weird to me, because it really looks like Armin doesn't hear that, although he is with Mikasa in the paths, which raises a lot of questions. I actually talked about the origin of Armin in this video, so go watch it if you want after this one. And also, tell me what you think. Did Armin hear Eren? Or only Mikasa heard him? But actually, the even bigger surprise here is Mikasa hearing Eren. As we know, Mikasa is part Asian and part Ackerman, and not supposed to be a subject of Ymir. This issue tells us that we have been misinformed about something really important, and if Mikasa heard it, I bet that Levi heard it too. And more interesting, and like I predicted in one of my latest videos, I'm sure that Annie also heard that. So my guess is that we are going to meet her very soon, and this is the Annie video if you want to check it out later. Moving on, we see all the scouts hearing the same thing as Mikasa, and the same goes to the warriors like we see in this panel, with a very strange lighting that makes Reiner looks a bit like the Joker for some reason. Also, we see Falco in the background. We then get to see each and every subject of Ymir around the world hearing the same message as Eren tells everyone that he has released the Wall Titans and they are now moving. And finally we hear Eren's objective. He wants to protect the people of Paradise, the place where he was born and raised. And notice that he said people of Paradise and not Eldians or Ymir subjects. He says that he rejects the wish of the world to eliminate the people of Paradise and the rest of Ymir subjects around the world. And then we get the final panel of Eren's new Titan face as he announces that the Wall Titans are now marching and going to destroy everything outside the island until every life will be exterminated from the world. And that is the end of this amazing chapter. Let me go back for a minute to the little immigrant kid. Like I said, his panel looks different. My thoughts about it is that Eren saw this kid once more, and maybe even warned him to stay away from the danger zone, or even told him that he can find refuge in Paradise Island. That will be a nice reason for Eren to say he's going to protect all the people in Paradise and not the subject of Ymir or Eldians. And last thing, notice that Eren's Titan finally can speak, opposing to the Attack Titan that never could. And here is a little fun fact for you. The Walls of Paradise fell on November 9th, the official release date, exactly 30 years after the fall of the Berlin Wall, on the same date at year 1989. Another fun fact is the name Rose was actually the code name for the project of constructing the Berlin Wall. Now, I'm not saying that it is relevant to our story in any way, but I just thought you might find it interesting. Before we'll end this video, I would just like to add that Eren's new Titan form looks very similar to the creature I talked about in my latest video. So, if you are interested in knowing what lives inside the giant tree, go check it out. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, please subscribe and give a little like to let me know. Also, in addition to YouTube, you can find me on Facebook, where I run several anime groups including Attack on Titan, on Twitter, where I post daily, or on Instagram and Pinterest, where I post my animation art that you see across my videos. So feel free visiting me on any of those, even just to say hi. I really appreciate that. And that is all for today, my Titan-loving friends, and I will see you all real soon. And until we do, let me just remind you all to dedicate your hearts to humanity, inside and outside the walls.